Dear students, good morning to everyone. I once again welcome you all to the second day of Alumni Webinar Series. I take the privilege in welcoming you all to the live webinar series organized by Satyabama IEI Student Branch in association with the Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering and the Institution of Engineers India. On the second day of the Alumni Webinar Series, we have Mr. Pon Murugan, who is a technology analyst at Infosys Limited, and he has joined us today to handle the session on future scope of Internet of Things. We welcome you, sir. I take the privilege in introducing Mr. Pon Murugan. Mr. Ponmurgan is an experienced technology analyst with a demonstrated history of working in the information technology and services industry. He is skilled in SAP, ML, SQL, Java, C++, embedded systems, IoT, TestStand, and LabVIEW. He is a strong information technology professional with a master's degree, that is ME, focused on embedded systems technology, and he has acquired his master's degree at Satyabama University, Chennai. I take the privilege in introducing Mr. Ponmurhan. Mr. Ponmurhan is an experienced technology analyst with a demonstrated history of working in the information technology and services industry. He is skilled in SAP, MII, SQL, Java, C++, embedded systems, IoT, TestStand, and LabVIEW. He is a strong information technology professional with master's degree in embedded system and technology from Satyabama University, Chennai. He has also received the Pinnacle Award for 2018 at Infosys Limited. We are very happy to have you here, sir, to deliver the talk on the future scope of Internet of Things. Now, the session is all yours. I'm handing over the session to you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Few people are telling um, sensors and actuators are connected. Yeah. So Internet of Things is a smart device, smart network device that interact with each other and sharing the data. So as I explained already, like for your example of that, your Fitband will be communicated between your smart device, so smartphone and your Fitband, like both will be communicating each other with the Bluetooth communication. It shares the data like your health related, your heartbeat and other your activities like walking or running, your sleeping as well. Like in few of the Fitbits have that option, like how you are sleeping, like what time you are sleeping in the deep, and those informations will be collected from your Fitband, and those information is sent to the cloud. There they did some analysis, and then they give the you visualized picture, graphical representation, so you can see your sleeping activities and everything. IoT is about the power of data. Our world is digitally connected, and the data is a critical asset. So it's everything about data. Your all the informations like your Uh, for example, same Fitband, your heartbeat, blood count, your walking, everything will be a data. So that is all about in digital. It's like a critical asset. The actual term Internet of Things was coined by Kevin Astor in 1999 during his work at Procter and Gamble. So he is the one to frame this name Internet of Things initially to promote the RFID technology. So you all know about RFID, it's a radio frequency technology. The popularity of the term IoT did not accelerate until 2010-11, and now and in the early 2014, it reaches in the market, and in now in 2020, almost 20 billion devices are interconnected between each other. So IoT is the most popular term that have been proposed, but does not mean exactly all the same. So machine-to-machine communication, Web of Things, like Web of Things is like uh, web interfaces will be interconnected, like same way they are sharing their data. That is called Web of Things. And Industry 4.0 will see a few of this in later slides. In Industry 4.0, Industrial Internet of Things, smart systems, all will be like same like IoT only. Smart systems like a smart city, smart car, smartphones. So next will be like a IoT architecture. So IoT architecture, it's like IoT. It's I'll explain here like how it will work and everything. So basically, the edge device is like a IoT device. It's nothing like but like sensors and actuators. So it will collect your information, any kind of information. For example, if you are smart home, if you want to control your room temperature, so heat temperature sensor will be there. So it will capture the temperature of your room and it will send that information to your IoT device, gateway device. Gateway, it's like a bridge between your edge device and your internet, about cloud or something. So IoT device not only a actuator or sensor, it might be a PLCs. So if you are going for the industrial IoT, that might be a, like PLCs, those will be coming. So we'll see those things later. So first in this IoT device captures information and send that to IoT gateway. Gateway device will do like receiving those information and it will do some conversion like JSON, like format will be changed and encryption will happen here. So data security will be they'll implement in the gateway side. After that, they will push those information to the cloud. So data center or cloud, they for data center they might use big data nowadays. Big data and other uh, big area. They store those bunch of data in there. So they store those information in the database or a cloud. So for cloud, for example, Azure, Amazon, AWS. So those are the cloud systems. We can store our information there, and there they can do some analytics and they do some algorithm changes like predictive maintenance. Then they will represent everything in the UI format. Like for example, if you are using a mobile, so an app will be there. You can design your own app to see your uh, for controlling your room, like switch on the lights off. So everything will be You can do it in your mobile itself. Even web-based applications like Power BI is one of the powerful tool to visualize your data and control, as well as some of other like Angular, Node.js, and those are the few UI5, SAP UI5. So those are the web-based applications. You can create your websites and you can see your data visually. This is overall architecture. So sensor, it's a transistor. You all know about what is a sensor. Sensor, it's a transistor. It's a physical device that converts one form of energy into another form. So in the case of sensor, the transducer converts some physical phenomena into an electrical impulse that can then interpreted to determine reading the sensor data. So you are converting your sensor data into electrical form. So actuator, it's like a reversal of your sensor, like it electrical inputs and it turns into a physical action like electrical motor and hydraulic systems. So those will be like, and PLCs is like collecting some industrial information, and those informations will be IoT gateway will send the tag information, and based on the tag ID, PLC will respond. So you all know about the sensors, I guess. So I just telling like different kind of sensors, like the optical sensors, proximity, motion, gas sensor, flow, and leakage level. You can identify magnetic tilt, like GPS. Those are the vibration sensors, and those are the sensors widely used in the IoT. So IoT gateway, I already told like a gateway is to provide bridge between a different type of technology. It's like a different type of devices. Uh, for a IoT gateway, it follows the same principle of bridging a communication for different technologies and devices. It creates a bridge between sensors and the internet. Internet is nothing but the data centers like cloud or big data. IoT gateway, it's nothing but it's like a simple your embedded board like Arduino. Arduino, it's a basic Arduino. People used to do some basic small projects for IoT related projects like smart homes and all. Those basic Arduino board is fine. Even if you are going for the some extent, like if you are streaming some videos and those things, Raspberry Pi, and Raspberry Pi, you can go for industrial purpose. They use Raspberry as Raspberry and advanced version of Arduino. They use, or they have a for each and every industry they have a special they design their own IoT gateway device. So they increase their capacity, and they can do the backups in the gateway device itself. If some network issue, we may lose the data. So they have their own data storage in their gateway device itself. So they can store and send. So in that, they can do everything in gateway. Like I'll tell you below. Like so, for a simple process like pre-processing, clean and raw filters the raw data from it come in sensor is sending some electrical impulse, and they convert into a digital form, and they'll do those calculations here, and they convert into a JSON format. Mostly they used to convert into a JSON format because in some of the most of the devices will understand the JSON format. So JSON formats is nothing but like key and data. So first letter will be a key and second letter will be our data. So they will send like that, and then they'll do the encryption in the gateway side. So for you all know, right? For if you are going for the internet, hacking may happen. So might be you can lose your data as well. So for that purpose, people used to do the encryptions for a security purpose. That and all will be doing in the gateway side. Uh, so key features: communication for IoT gateway, like it's a communication bridging between machine to machine communication. Services as a data cache, buffer, and streaming devices. Offline services and real-time control of device. You can do offline services like can take data and send it, or you can directly take a data from the machine manufacturing field. They are doing the mass production. The same time they are capturing data that is a real time. They can capture the real time data as well, and you can control the real time devices. Like if you want to reduce the speed of the machine, you can do that also through this IoT gateway device. Aggregate your data and same thing like cleaning and filtering your data and those things you can do here. So these are the few gateway devices: basic Arduino, Raspberry Pi. These are people commonly used, and this is industrial board, BeagleBone. This one Texas Instruments board. Most of the industries they use this as a basic version. And AdLink, they have a another gateway board. This will be like again industrial people. If they go for some big projects like for predictive maintenance or some farming related smart farming, so they have some more they need more they capturing a more data like real time data, like every second they are collecting data from their field. So they that time they want to store the data in the gateway itself. So for that purpose they can use this AdLink. So this one you can install your hard disk. You can increase your storage size, and it has all the communications like Ethernet and wireless you can do, and both the same only. You can use the USB and everything. So AdLink is another gateway device. So IoT protocol. I just protocol. You all know it's a set of rules and regulations. The same way, IoT protocols. It's like a lot of protocols are there. I just show you few protocols, and MQTT, COAP, Modbus, and Kafka. It's like a few examples. Like MQTT, it's a message queuing telemetry transport protocol. It's like a publish and subscribe model. Uh, Sensor is capturing a data and publishing it, and your device is capturing those data. And MQTT, other thing is like a lightweight protocol. You can, if you want to use very intranet something like very remotely, you can use the MQTT protocol. And Kafka, it's like it looks like a similar same thing, public subscribe model, and producer, and it's like a public and subscribe only, but it is a real time. You can uh, capture the data from your machines, and real time you can use it, and it's a bit heavyweight, like not like MQTT. You can capture bulk data and send it to your subscribers. These are the main difference between MQTT and Kafka. And Modbus is another industrial IoT protocol. Most of the people's they nowadays they are using this Modbus protocol. It will communicate between your mission to mission communications as well as your HMI to your PLC devices. Like if you want to collect some data, you can enter the tag information, and then PLC will respond based on the tag. Tag it's like a ID. So, for example, if you want to find out the machine speed, you can send the uh, speed ID, for example, A. If you send the A, PLC will capture the machine speed and it will send it to you. So Modbus will do like a master slave communication as well as server client. So master slave will be like your gateway and your machine, like for example server sensors. Like it will be slave will send those information to your master. Master will collect all those information and it will send to your client. So next one is Industry 4.0. Now it is it's a era of fourth industrial revolution. So it refers to intelligent networking of machines and process of industry with the help of information and communication technology like IoT, and it's a major role for this Industry 4.0. It has been defined as name for the current trends of automation and data exchanges in manufacturing technologies, including cyber physical system, Internet of Things, cloud computing, and smart factories. You can create your smart factories using this Industry 4.0. This is the revolution happen in the industries. Industry 1.0 is like early 18th century, or it's around 1784. It's a year the first evolution happened. It's a mechanization started, and then they use water and steam for power to run the machineries. They start doing the production. So in the 19th century and later part of 19th century, the Industry 2.0 happened. There is a mass production and assembly lines happen. Their electrical they used electrical energy for the running machines and all. So the production growth is high compared to Industry 1.0, and they did some like conveyor belts, those things and all in the 2.0. Industry 3.0, it's a next evolution around your computer and electronic devices. So once that electronic devices came, like your transistors and ICs, like embedded automations happen, and then that is a 3.0, and now it is a 4.0. This is like a communication between human and your machines, and collect real-time data and do some analysis. Like they can predict the lifetime of your machines and everything with the help of IoT. That's the fourth revolution, and we are into the fourth revolution. So these are the technologies we are used in the Industry 4.0: big data, simulations, robotics, Internet of Things, even 3D printing, cloud, cyber security. These are the major technologies used in the Industry 4.0. This is a maturity index. Actually, now the industries are moving from paper work to digitalizations. Like previously, industries will be running like their supervisor will send the work note through paper, and they have a big blackboard. They used to mark everything in that board, like for the first shift this much work done, and second shift those informations will be captured in your physically on papers. So they are slowly moving into the digital world. So they computerized everything. So data will be coming into your system. So what Industry 4.0 is doing, like for those informations, they can take those informations and they did some analysis. They are doing, they can track their productivity and transparency happened in this Industry 4.0. So for digital, after the digitalization, their visibility will be high. So they can see their data and they can again the transparency. They can understand what is happening on, and if they their goods will be in some fault, they can track easily. So previously, it's not possible. It's very difficult to track where that issue happened. Nowadays, that transparency happened. Predictive and capacity. It's like you can predict your life cycle of your machines as well. Like based on the historical value, you can predict your machine life cycles. So that's what happened. You can prepare, like this will be okay. You need service for this machines, so you can predict your downtime as well. And then self optim, it's adaptability. Again, uh, every industries will be adaptable, like things happen. This is the Industry 4.0. Okay, next one is industrial IoT. So industrial IoT, it's like a growing it's a very fastly increasing sector, and it's the same thing, like same IoT they are implementing in the industrial. Again, it's a data, data is a critical as well. The industries and manufacturers is almost every sector have a tremendous opportunity to not only monitor, they can automate their work as well. For long time, industries and plants have had a sensors and systems to track progress, but IoT takes a step further and provide integrates to even the small problems as well. So they can find out a small problem. Even they can suggest the solutions as well. Like your these are the this is your problem area. Even you can identify the issue. Your this machines having this problem. You can remove this part. Like for example, if your heat coil will be some issue, so you can predict that and you can say like coil will be here, you can remove and you can replace it, it will work like that. Those informations will be given. So these are the IoT applications. Like nowadays it's a big user, it's like automobiles, manufacturing industries and energy sectors. They used industrial IoT, and they are the now they are the big users, and the fastest growing industries like healthcare, retail industries and agriculture. So IoT, it's like a commercial household purpose. You can do the smart homing and security systems, those things. Industrial IoT, it's like an industrial sector, and so these are the impacts. It helps the company to make decision and improve its performance. They represent a strategic advantage in a competitive market. And I already told, I guess, it's when in the world, 2020 in worldwide, 20 billion devices are connected and they are communicating each other. So these are the benefits. Productivity is improved. So you can monitor, you can optimize your productivity. You can predictive the analysis based on the historical large amount of data. IoT technology can predict the analysis using the machine language and the artificial intelligence. If you find any fault in your machine, you can IoT can alert to the user. If new problem came, uh, if a new problem comes, like artificial intelligence will take that as a input and it will do next time it will do those. It's like a self-learning technology as well, and it's rapid response and reduction of human errors. It's a case study. It's a smart farming. Smart farming. In 2015, Mark decided to upgrade his irrigation system on his agricultural land. So for this, they need temperature sensor, moisture sensor, and humidity sensor. They fix that sensors into your field. They capture those sensor information, and gateway device convert into a JSON format and send it to your cloud. Cloud will do some analysis and send it to a virtual UI format like this. In this particular time, you need to give water, and this particular time, you need to give your temperature is more. You need to reduce, like put some shelter. And so those things they can do. The system also alerts him to problems in the systems, like some leakage is happening. If something happen, no, they can alert through his phone. So benefits is like he can reduce his labor, and routine farm checkups and all will be reduced and save his time, improving his productivity and take decision via this data analysis. And he can understand the market, what wants, and how the value chain and those information. So any questions?
Dear participants, if you have any questions, you can put it in the chat box, or you can talk to Mr. Ponmurugan sir. Thank you, sir. On behalf of the management of Satyabama Institute of Science and Technology and the Satyabama IEI student branch, we express our profound and sincere thanks to you, sir, for giving an excellent coverage to the future scope of Internet of Things. The session has been quite educative and interactive. Thank you, sir. I also thank all the participants for your enthusiastic participation in the session. Thank you all. Thank you so much. I take a leave from you. We shall meet you tomorrow on the day 3 of the alumni webinar series. Thank you.